Hey, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Rajeev. Welcome to the second
Good
session
morning.
on leadership. Today's topic that we are going to talk about is building trust in master data, a chief information officer's perspective. I've been joined by Rajeev Vasudeva, ex-CIO of a cement multinational company. Uh, Rajiv, it's a privilege and honor to discuss this topic with you. Before we get into the podcast, I'll be giving a quick introduction about myself. My name is Anbaras Sureddy. I'm General Manager and Head of Operations at Verdantis. I have overall 24 plus years of experience. In my role, I oversee product delivery, product implementation, product innovation, business strategy, and client servicing. Uh, and now I have also been joined by Rajiv Vasudeva, ex-CIO of a cement multinational company. Rajiv, it's a privilege to connect with you, and it's an honor to host you in our podcast session. Rajiv, why don't you give us a little background about yourself and your role as a Chief Information Officer?
Sure. So, good morning, everyone, and thanks, Anbarsu, for having me here. My professional career spans almost 4 decades, starting from days of mini computers used for time sharing, running departmental applications in batch mode in mid 80s, to current era where AI, ML, GenAI, and various other sophisticated solutions are integrating entire ecosystem. During this period, I got opportunity to work for many diverse sectors, such as textiles, metals, higher education, and also construction material. And like any other CIO, I was primarily responsible for three things. First, developing strategy to enable growth, market differentiation, and operational efficiency through technology intervention on sustainable basis. Second, converting this strategy into action. And third, providing governance to the IT function.
Great. So it's quite an interesting journey, Rajiv, and I'm sure you have seen technology and data evolve in the last few decades, right? So, from your perspective, uh, I want to understand how did you get involved with master data, and why do you feel it is important for today's businesses?
Sure. So I'll try addressing this question in two parts. First, I'll share my experience with master data management and then its importance in today's business. My initial introduction to MDM dates back to late 90s when we began migrating homegrown applications to a popular ERP system for one of the leading textile companies in North India. This homegrown solution was highly specialized, designed to capture only the basic information needed to manage departmental workflows. However, an ERP system being interconnected requires comprehensive data that is relevant to all connected stakeholders. So early on, we realized that data in homegrown application was absolutely insufficient for migration, and it had to be significantly enhanced to meet needs of various connected departments. So this is when we recognized that our approach to master data needed to evolve into something far more holistic. Since MDM solutions were not available at that time, we developed custom solutions to integrate, validate, and ensure data consistency. So this is my tryst with master data management long back. Now coming to second part of the question, which is about today. Now, as the world is becoming increasingly interconnected and businesses engage more closely with suppliers and customers, the need for accurate and shareable data is growing rapidly. To illustrate the importance of MDM, consider a common business scenario. Companies are extending their IT landscape to external users to reduce cycle times and improve planning through collaboration. Now, this is possible only if data requirements of applications on both sides are properly aligned. For instance, if I extend my purchasing system to suppliers, then their systems must be able to clearly and consistently interpret specifications of the materials which I want to procure on sustainable basis. They should also be able to clearly understand where the material has to be shipped and when it has to be shipped. I would expect same even for new suppliers. Now, achieving this kind of efficiency at scale on a continuous basis is critical for both the parties. And this level of coordination is possible only through robust MDM practices, making MDM integral to any worthwhile initiative being taken up today.
Great. So, Rajiv, I think when you said you started from 90s through on the master data journey, it's in itself a story, right? So, from a CIO's perspective, Uh, can you let our audience know how does the master data management tie into the broader business strategies?
Sure. So as I see, MDM is not an end in itself. In fact, it's a crucial tool for delivering larger solutions and driving value in any modern initiative. Let me try to illustrate this with two examples. One focused on internal efficiency and the other on enhancing engagement with suppliers or service providers. So first, let's consider this issue of internal efficiency, which is about optimization of working capital being a key priority for most of the CFOs. A major component of working capital is typically stores inventory, which can be challenging to manage due to sheer volume of data and involvement of multiple owners. Now, without processes for getting timely visibility into slow moving inventory, and some of which actually may stem from duplicate items, inventory control becomes extremely difficult. Now, other issues about duplicate items, which is actually very commonplace in most of the companies where MDM solutions are not in place. Further, it has been seen that the older the IT solutions, higher is the likelihood of duplicates, leading to unwarranted inventory buildup. Now, MDM addresses this issue specifically by implementing workflows, assigning accountability for material code creation, effectively eliminating duplicate item codes, and hence optimization of working capital. Now, coming to the second example, which is about automation of procurement processes, which many companies pursue to reduce cycle time, improve transparency, and secure better pricing. A critical element of this initiative is robust material master data system, where items are clearly defined with specifications as I just mentioned, and these should be easily understood by suppliers. Now, building and maintaining such a database to be used by a very diverse set of stakeholders requires a platform that ensures continuous data governance and enrichment. Further, as number of stakeholders grows, tools like master data governance actually start becoming indispensable. Also, most strategic initiatives link multiple functions or entities, increase the number of stakeholders over time. So this makes MDM even more critical for success of any application initiative that serves a wide and evolving set of users.
Great. Maybe if you can share some of the key initiatives that you implemented to improve the data quality and trustworthiness uh, in master data for your organizations.
Sure. So let me share a business initiative where MDM played pivotal role in its success. This particular project focused on consolidating procurement processes of a company that was expanding through acquisitions. Now, procurement consolidation across material and services was a strategic necessity as it would strengthen relationships with key suppliers and enhance purchasing power through economies of scale. Now, primary challenge here was diversity of systems across companies and parent company. These systems were built on different technologies and use incompatible coding schemes, making integration a complex task. Now, in this case, our goal was very clear: harmonize key data elements, which were suppliers, materials, services, and few other data elements, so that procurement function could operate seamlessly across all entities, both existing as well as new. Now, this harmonization was not only crucial at the start, but also needed to be sustained over time as the company continued to use multiple applications. So, initially, we engaged a third party to establish common codes all across, but for long-term sustainability, we decided to centralize core codification work in-house and also developed our own workflows since full-fledged MDM solutions were neither widely available nor affordable at that time. To summarize, we standardized data definitions, eliminated data duplicates with external support, using technology to link and integrate master data from various systems, implemented custom workflows to define accountability, and appointed data owners to maintain quality of master data over long term. No, I know it's a bit longish answer, but considering the complexity of the work involved, I had to touch upon all the critical elements which had to be addressed.
And I think your journey has so much of learning. It is obvious that the answers would be definitely long. But you spoke about stakeholder management, and I am interested to know. So, when the stakeholder increases, the challenges of trust also increases, right? So, how does one build a trust, and what does the building trust in master data mean to you, and why it is critical for the organizations?
Sure. So I'll try answering this also in two parts. First is, what does building trust in master data mean? At high level, I think it means ensuring that the data an organization relies on should be accurate, consistent, and reliable. Now, this can be achieved by implementing robust processes and tools that validate data quality, maintain data integrity, and establish strong governance frameworks to manage and safeguard the data. Now, coming to the second part, why is this critical in today's environment? Now, today, data-driven decision making is a well-established source of competitive advantage. Most of the companies in any sector you look at, which are ahead of others, would have implemented IT long back. They would have mature data management practices. Now, as a result of all this, all the organizations are trying to become more and more digital and interconnected today. And actually, this trend has been accelerated by growth of a digital-friendly environment also.
Correct.
Now, increased digitization directly leads to higher demand for reliable data. And data is valuable only if it is trustworthy. So, net, as organizations digitize, the need for trusted data become not just important, but integral to gaining edge in the market.
And I'm sure this doesn't go without any challenges, right? So I would like to understand what are the common challenges that any organization face when they try to establish a trust in the data.
Sure. So to answer this, let's start from back and see what users expect from data or output of IT solutions, and then how to get them there and whether that's an easy or cumbersome process. Now, where do we use data? Data is used majorly for making decisions, and anyone will prefer clear, concise information for doing that. For example, a customer wants straightforward answer from service center or a self-service application, while someone working in a purchase function of a company will need specific details about what to buy, when to get that delivered, and where to deliver that, so that he or she can initiate inquiry with potential suppliers properly. Now, putting it simply, users need data which is right, consistent at all times, and it should have complete information. And this should be available to them quickly to move forward. Now, this looks simple, but when it comes to implementation, there are a lot of challenges, which is the answer to the moot point you asked. Why is it difficult? Let me try to cite few reasons for that. First, because of heterogeneity of applications in many cases, there could be lack of clear data definition, which could lead to different people having different interpretations about same data element. That's the first challenge. Second, in many cases, data ownership is not clearly defined, which can create inconsistency and confusion. Third, data could come from multiple sources, different sources, heterogeneous sources, and it could be hard to connect and understand. Fourth, in many cases, you would find companies are still using old systems, legacy systems. Now, extracting data from these older systems is always a tricky thing. Fifth, data coming from multiple sources may vary in details as well as the timing, so complicating integration even further. And there could be few other challenges also. So, unless one takes a holistic view of all these challenges and have suitable addressal on sustainable basis, quality of data will remain suspect. I think again I have given a bit longish answer, but these five six items were extremely critical to understand the challenges in providing trustable data to users.
I think whatever we are sharing is only enriching our learning. So, the lengthier the answer, I think the better will be the knowledge gained by me and all the audiences. But Rajiv, again, I think technology, no doubt, would have played a very critical role, right? With the journey that you have seen technology evolve, and that has helped the data also evolve, as well as master data evolve. But in today's world, I think AI is emerging as a technology forefront platform, right? So what is your thought on emerging technologies, AI and machine learning going to play on the master data reliability and accuracy?
So absolutely, it's a great question. Now, many issues of the past which used to hinder data cleansing can be handled by these technologies with ease. Let me give two examples to make this point. First, AIML can easily analyze vast data to detect and eliminate duplicates, inconsistencies, and errors in master data. Now, past solution for this part of the problem was writing lengthy, complex programs, and those had to be maintained also. So, in that sense, AI, ML, etc., make this task extremely easy. Second, AI/ML can also cross-reference external data sources automatically to validate or update missing or older information. Again, a very simple example. In India, you would have seen many companies as well as banks using PAN or Aadhaar card to validate some information or to extract some other information. While this they have been exercising using APIs, but AI/ML can invoke those APIs automatically by looking at which which particular record has data which is apparently inconsistent or incomplete. Now, exercising this kind of control in past used to be really cumbersome. One more example, because that also looks interesting to me. NLP techniques. NLP is natural language processing, which is becoming again very commonplace these days. So this could help us in understanding and processing unstructured data. For example, today a lot of communication happens through mails, SMS, and in many cases verbal also. Now NLP techniques can convert all this unstructured data to structured data for any kind of validation. Now when you look at all these techniques or emerging technologies in entirety, it makes the whole job extremely easy. So to summarize, AI, ML, NLP, Gen AI, etc., can improve master data management substantially by automating data quality checks, reducing errors, also enriching data, and they provide a sustainable and scalable approach for maintaining high quality master data.
And Rajiv, just for everyone's context, I think Verdantis has been aggressively building out applications and products on master data management, specifically the generative AI products. Uh, you have already seen some of the products and you have given a great reviews about that. So thanks for your inputs on those. Moving on. So data governance again, building a trust in the master data governance obviously plays a very crucial role. So what are the best practices you would have implemented during your tenure for data governance?
Okay. So first, let me start by giving a very simple answer, and then I'll come to details.
Yeah.
Now, technology without processes doesn't mean anything. In the past, people used to say there are three things important: people, technology, and processes, which make any initiative successful. Same applies for master data also. Now, processes get enforced through governance. So this is the point which I'll try to elaborate. And you are absolutely right. Data governance is absolutely crucial. Without that, MDM doesn't serve much purpose. So these tools of today, MDM or MDG, need to necessarily have this component of governance to exercise robust controls end to end at any given point of time. Now, what are these? I'll try elaborating. First of all, it provides an extensive framework of policies and procedures to manage how data should be created, maintained, and protected. Now, some of the best practices, the specific question which you asked, I think most of the users or data management teams may not be really familiar with master data governance. Actually, they may see this as an overhead which is avoidable. So, first activity, first best practice, I think, has to be socialize this concept, make the users aware as to what does MDG mean. And second, this should be followed by defining data stewardship. What this means is assigning clear ownership of the data for each domain. Now, for example, in a company, you might have data elements as diverse as customer master, supplier master, equipment master, and so on and so forth. Now, one needs to assign different individuals who would be responsible for their specific domains for overseeing data quality. So, this is the second best practice. This is my recommendation. Third, third is extremely important. One needs to have clear data definitions. What does this particular data element mean? It will avoid any gaps in interpretation. Generally, this data definition covers what all information needs to be captured along with coding schemes and what are the data sources. Let me try to give an example of equipment master. I'm fairly hopeful that the audience would be able to understand and relate to this point. When one is talking of equipment master, what one needs to define is absolutely mandatory information in this context, which could be what is the capacity of the equipment, who was the supplier, who did the erection and commissioning, in which location of the plant is it installed, when was the installation done, when was the commissioning done, what was the upgrade history, and many more data elements. Point is, when we are talking of master data, one has to have all the complete information about that particular data element, so that one can use that information as a foundation for building further IT systems. This actually lays the foundation or is the bedrock of doing any IT initiative today, the way I understand things. Now, continuing on this, in many cases, definition may also cover purging of the data, which is actually becoming mandatory in today's context when one is talking of personally identifiable information, which has to be implemented because of upcoming data privacy related statutes, etc. So, this also is integral to the best practices. Continuing, while we have defined the what all would be included in that particular master, then we also need to define who all have access to this. So this is called access control, which means who will have the access to create new data, who all can view, who all can update the data, so that the chances of unauthorized changes or misuse are avoided, and there's satisfaction from audit also that the information is not being misused. Fifth point, while we have laid the blueprint using these four best practices, more important is implementing this on the ground. And that implementation again will not be possible without technology, which is where MDG plays a critical role. So MDG will include things like business rules, workflows, validations, integration of large and diverse stakeholders on sustainable basis. This is the fifth best practice. And
So
sixth and
just, I
last,
mean, when you so it's a data governance platforms, right? That will play a crucial role.
sure,
Correct, Ravi? That's what you meant, right?
right. Okay. Continuing on this, sixth point is one has to continuously oversee also as to how this governance platform is working. What is its efficacy? Are we still generating duplicate codes? Is still some manual work being done? Are there any stakeholders who are not eligible to be looking at data, but somehow they got access? So on periodic basis, it is expected that one should look at some KPIs which give assurance to senior management that this particular governance tool is working as per design. And this is really important. Again, I'm sorry I gave longish answer, but this particular topic was extremely complex.
No, I mean it has been knowledge enriching answer. So, as I said, the lengthier, more the knowledge that everyone will gain. But thanks for that answer, Ajib. Moving on, so there are a lot of CIOs and senior leaders who would definitely need your advice on how to build their master data strategies. What advice would you give them?
Okay, so my recommendation will be to have a two-pronged approach. First, focus on internal stakeholders, and second is look externally also to learn from others' experience and align those external inputs or insights with senior management for getting their buy-in. So first, let me start with the first part, which is about internal stakeholders. Now, first of all, as mentioned earlier, this MDM thing should not be seen as an end goal in itself, but it's a critical lever, critical enabler for larger IT initiatives. This is the first part. Second, one should begin any process by defining the business value. And in this particular case, one has to look at the business value which the larger IT initiative is expected to deliver. And this is a business case for which the investment has been approved. Third, one needs to understand importance of master data in achieving the initiative's goal. As I've been repeatedly emphasizing, master data management, master data governance is the bedrock in today's world for any worthwhile IT initiative. It's extremely important to understand that while IT initiative will sit on top of the master data layer, what are the critical data elements which will feed into the IT initiative, or what data will come from the top layer to the bottom MDM layer, so that everything remains synchronized. This is important to understand so that we are very clear who are the stakeholders, who's the data management team. They need to be brought into the loop. They need to understand importance of the master data in achieving overall initiative goal. Their buy-in is extremely critical. Fourth, after we have identified the stakeholders, as I mentioned, primarily those who are going to manage master data, then I think it would be a good idea if they are given a demonstration also of the MDM or MDG tool. This I am recommending because MDG is still an evolving practice and everyone may not be in a position to appreciate what is its utility. But once they have seen the tool, then they'll start understanding its importance its criticality in the overall scheme of things. Then they'll be very clear that it's not an overhead. This is actually going to simplify their work. Not only that, this is how it will ensure data consistency in a very frugal manner. So this is what one needs to do internally. And now coming to the second leg, which is essentially learning from external experience. I think it's always useful to research how other organizations have tackled similar projects. What challenges did they face? How long it took them to see benefits and overall experience. Now, these inputs come handy for validating or calibrating our strategy and getting buy-in from management. Now, depending upon management's appetite for technology investment and their perspective about core initiative, one could plan less or more activities amongst which I just mentioned. But what I have indicated, I think is like bare minimum required for achieving success.
Great. Again, I mean, that was quite an enriching answer. So, last question, Rajiv, for you. Can you share an example of a time when improving master data led to a significant business benefits?
Sure. Okay. So my favorite example has been a project which involved consolidation of multiple heterogeneous applications into a unified supply chain network. This was executed quite some time back, I think almost 15 years back. The company had grown through acquisitions, which led to a variety of systems. Now, aligning data across these systems was a major challenge due to large volumes, differing process philosophies, though I'll not talk about the processes here. But all this meant that there were different coding schemes, and more importantly, the manner in which data was being captured, that also was very, very different. And therefore, from the beginning, it was clear to most of us that data harmonization would be a critical success factor for this larger initiative of unifying supply chain network. So, at the planning stage itself, we formed a dedicated team which had cross-functional representation from commercial team, supply chain, and of course, technical folks to handle this task. I think we invested substantially in technologies like MDM. We had to implement ETL because there were heterogeneous platforms. Because of diversity of stakeholders and their spread, etc., workflow also was extremely critical. I think this particular team, this particular task force, spent substantial time in learning these technologies and implementing. Also, if I remember correctly, this whole exercise had taken almost 6 months, but it didn't hurt us because it was running in parallel with the core process implementation. And after systems got consolidated into one single network, it delivered substantial benefits to all the stakeholders. For example, one unified view of customers was available to sales, one supply chain network view was available to the strategy team and also to the supply chain team. In hindsight, I think without this MDM initiative, and specifically the technology stack which I just shared, MDM, ETL, and workflow, we won't have achieved early synergies and strategic decisions which this particular platform started to start making recommendations. Those also would have been less effective.
Great. Thanks, Rajiv, for answering all the question with a great detail. I think our audiences must have definitely gained a lot of knowledge from this session. We will open up for questions. So if there are any questions from the audience, please post it, and we would be glad to take it up with Rajiv. Let's give them a minute, Rajiv.
Sure.
I think you might have already answered a lot of questions in response to all the questions that we asked. You must have already answered their questions as well. So there is no question as of now. So again, Rajiv, it's a privilege and honor to host you. We have had a good knowledge gaining session out of this, and we look forward to collaborating with you again on some other sessions. Thank you for this podcast.
Okay. Thanks.
All right, thanks,
Okay.
Rajiv. Thanks for the time. Bye bye. Bye everyone.